Good afternoon, Capstone. For my other TED Talk, I chose something by Julian Treasure, and he gives a talk about how to speak in a way so that people will want to listen. I thought that we can pretty much all benefit from this, but it was actually under the section of TED Talks of things to listen to before you go into an interview. And I think that his intended audience is really just anyone that wants to become a better speaker or even a better listener. So he starts off the talk saying, these are some habits that we should eliminate if we want to become better speakers, and he speaks specifically about gossiping and judging and negativity. He gives an example of negativity, just someone that's like always negative, not that you can never say anything negative, and he just says, people don't want to listen to someone like that. He makes a joke and says, my mother was such a negative woman, I would say something as simple as, oh, today is October 1st, and she goes, oh, how horrible. And so he engages the audience by making a joke and giving examples. He goes on to say complaining, excuses, exaggeration, those are other habits so we should try to eliminate. Specifically with the exaggeration, sometimes exaggeration can go so far that then it becomes a lie. But even if it hasn't gone quite that far and you're just saying something like, oh, that's really awesome, he goes, what do you say if something is actually really awesome? And so just trying to avoid exaggerated speech will make you a better speaker. Then he also talks about dogmatization and how facts versus opinion, and really, if you're talking and to a group and you want people to listen, try to just give them the facts and kind of leave opinions out of it. And then he goes on in his talk to actually, he leaves the audience with more of a positive note, and he gives you a few things that you can do to become a better speaker. And I like that he does the positive because I think that's something I'll probably try to incorporate in my Monica talk, is to kind of leave the audience with something good to end on. And so he says his acronym for this is HAIL, H-A-I-L, and HAIL can just mean to like greet someone with good enthusiasm. And so he says, I don't mean like the precipitation type of hail. And the acronym for HAIL is H is honesty, A is authenticity, I is integrity, and L is love. And so it doesn't get too touchy-feely. He even gives you some examples, and he's like, honesty is a good thing, but if you have love incorporated in there too, you are not going to say to someone like, oh, you look really bad today. But more so, he makes the point of saying you just want the best for people, and if you speak to them in a way that gets that point across, that you really are well-wishing of others, that you'll be a more engaging speaker and people want to listen to you more. The fact that he uses the acronym, I thought was a really good key tool. I will probably try to include that in my Monica talk if I can, because it kind of helped me remember it, and now I have that memorized because he gave the acronym. He does a really good job with engaging the audience. He uses some graphics, but he doesn't have like a PowerPoint or anything like that. He just uses, some graphics to just put up keywords or some of his key points on a PowerPoint. He really engages the audience by having them actually stand up and do some voice warming activities, and he, gets them involved. He's like, everyone stand up, everyone do this with me, everyone do that. And so you'll probably tend to remember that more if you were a part of that audience and you got up and did those things. And then, people just naturally wanted to listen to him because he found a way to get you engaged. So overall, I thought it was a really good presentation. He also references some studies and data and gives you some facts that also adds to his credibility. He talks about voice tone and timbre and registration, and he gives examples of that during his speech as well. So he's like, I can speed up and get really excited about something just by talking faster. He's like, or if the pitch of my voice changes, or if I want to be taken more seriously. He actually references that in the past, our presidential candidates that have deeper voices tend to get more votes. And so he talks about, in some capacity, trying to control your voice, the pace at which you speak. He addresses monotone. We all know that someone that's monotone and doesn't change their voice at all can get really boring. He talks about using just different techniques to get different things across, and I think it was a really good, quick, it's not like he's a voice coach that you're meeting with weekly, but I think it was a good quick summary for how to become a better speaker. And you've noticed some of the things that you might be doing yourself. The other thing with his TED Talk is that he made a really great use of the stage. He walked around, you could tell he was very comfortable, he was confident, he knew this material, back and forth. His jokes were good. He didn't choke up at all. So you can tell that this is really something he's passionate about. He was able to give quick examples. So overall, I think it was a very memorable, good talk, and I'm going to try to learn something from it. Thanks.